Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio. Find one thing to move your business forward today. With conversations, spotlights, interviews. Listen, follow, and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach Podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Hi, Angela. Thank you for coming to the Dear Business Coach podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, this is really exciting. I am new to the podcasting world, as you and my viewers know. And so I am excited to hear some things that you have to say about how you're teaching us what to really do with our podcast, but also you have built a couple of businesses. So I want to pick your brain about how you really are building these business models.
Yeah, sounds great.
You started at a really young age being interested in studying money in general. I heard you say you started getting interested in studying money in college, and that made me giggle because were you not in debt possibly, or getting into debt possibly at that stage?
Yeah, so a little background about me. I am a survivor of childhood abuse and poverty. And so we moved around a ton. My mom was on Section 8 and welfare. And I can remember starting to work at age 14 through the welfare children program because, I knew that I needed to help support my family. And if I wanted to do things like prom or go to the mall, then I needed to figure out how to create my own income. And so I've always been fascinated by numbers. And when I was old enough to move out of that situation, I did go to college because I had an idea that in college that I was going to learn some crazy information or idea that was going to help me so that I never had to feel like I was poor again. And so it did take me 5 years to finish school, and I worked many jobs so that I could just pay for school. My goal was to get out of college debt-free. Now, this was in the late 90s, early 2000s. So the cost for college was a little bit different then. I did do the community college route and then went to a 4-year. It was what I highly recommend for most people if you're looking just to get to your degree level, because it's a much cheaper option. And so then I kind of started my journey about learning this tool we call money and how I could best use it in my life. And I think just the entrepreneur spirit of controlling my own schedule was big to me because I really didn't like people telling me what to do. I wasn't great at necessarily following instructions. I was great at giving instructions. And so that's kind of where the entrepreneur spirit started, was because I knew I wanted to create my own life, my own lifestyle, and I knew that I wasn't a great employee. And so I figured that I have to learn what entrepreneurship is.
Were you able to find an opportunity that did teach you entrepreneurial skills right out of school?
Well, when I was in college, I worked for Bank of America, and I had the opportunity inside the branch to meet a lot of different people. And I remember this one lady, she came in, she was an older lady, and she was depositing a check, and it was like $50,000 or something crazy big to me at the time. And so I asked her, I was like, "What do you do for a living?" And she says, "Oh, honey, I'm a real estate agent." And I was like, "What is that?" Because I didn't know at the time what it was. And so she would come in and we would talk, and I had the opportunity to meet other business owners. And I've always just been really curious. And so when I was working for the bank, I went down the financial advisor route, and I was grateful enough to have a couple of amazing female mentors. But what I want your audience to know about that is that I had to take the responsibility upon myself to go and meet with these women, to ask them questions, to see how can I help you so that, you can mentor me and I can learn from what you're doing, but I don't want to just take. So I had the chance to work with a couple amazing women. They were financial advisors. They were super confident. Like they would walk into a room with just like this head held high, and you could just tell that they were confident in what they were doing. And they just kept telling me to be a student, to learn, to run your business from your heart, to let people know that you care first. Because if they don't know that you care, then they're not going to listen to the advice that you're giving, and they're not going to, want to invest money with you as a financial advisor. So I feel like very early on, I was fortunate enough to have some incredible women in my life who were willing to take the time to, mentor me, give me advice, and teach me what they had learned. But I also wanted to make sure that I helped them along the way. So I did work with one of them on her team to help her. And that was my way of giving back, so that I felt like, she could give her time to me, but at the same time, I was helping her as well.
Well, my first thought when listening to your story about breaking into real estate was that I have thought about that before. I have friends who have done it, and it just seems so competitive. We're lucky to meet women who are willing to help you, but you learned how to give them of something of value in return. How did you figure out what they needed help with?
Yeah, so when I was at Bank of America, it was more of the process, right? A lot of times, amazing salespeople aren't great with details, and they need help with kind of the process and the operation. So I was able to help there. Now, I did get my real estate license in 2007, and I will say the majority of real estate agents are females, even though the finance world is male dominated. Most real estate agents are females. And my advice for someone looking to get into that field is, yes, it's very crowded. So make sure that you have a little bit of savings set aside, because it could be a while before you get a consistent income. However, if you find something that you enjoy, maybe it is the building that you live in or the area that you live in, maybe it's some type of hobby that you really enjoy, focus on that area first and become known as the real estate agent in that area. Maybe you're the real estate agent that goes to a specific yoga studio, or, whatever it is that your hobby is, that you're already well known as a person. Take that opportunity and turn that group into your raving fans, and make sure that they know that you're a real estate agent. Don't be a secret agent, but make sure that they know. And, for example, one of the things that I did early on is I was a big Pilates person. And I had t-shirts made that had like funny real estate sayings on them. So people would ask questions like, what does that mean? And then I'd explain to them and let them know, oh, I'm a real estate agent. And what this means is, and then people are like, how is the market? Instead of just talking about the market, I'll ask them, why do you ask? Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to sell? And get to know that person, because let's face it, we all like to talk about ourselves. And so when you put the focus on them and get to know them and ask them questions, it just helps them trust and build relationship with you, so that now they know you're a real estate agent. You know a little bit about them and what they're looking for. And if the opportunity arises and something comes up that you think might be a good investment or something for them, then they're top of mind for you as well. So I always learn that you come from contribution first. Get to know the person, see how you can help them, because everybody wants to know about real estate. There's all these TV shows now that talk about real estate, and learning how to take all of that information and give it to someone in a manner in which they want to receive it is really going to be huge in helping you in the real estate career.
Taking information and helping deliver that in a way that they are interested in receiving it, able to receive it. Am I hearing that?
Yes. And that's what I love about podcasting, right? So this is, your podcast is specific, right? You're talking about coaching, and you ask questions or you interview people around coaching, but you're in a platform in which people want to receive, which is usually in audio, right? We're listening to podcasts in the car, things like that. So you're creating your business around a way that your audience is going to receive it. So no matter what business you're in, that's just an ideal way to reach your clients, is to give them the information they're looking for, but in a way that they wish to receive it.
Okay, that makes sense. And of course, I like podcasting because I listen to podcasts all day long.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And did you move to the insurance industry after real estate?
Yes, I still have my real estate license, but in 2018, I opened my own insurance company. I had never done insurance before, but since I was in real estate, I just thought the insurance person I was sending my buyers to wasn't delivering the service that I wanted. And so I thought, I'm going to get my insurance license. I went to school for it, got my license, opened my own company. And now my insurance company was able to service my real estate company and give the level of service that I expected, which is I'm not just going to call you once, right? You're buying a home, you need insurance. I want to give you all of the options possible. And now I'm going to get to know you to see, do we need to help lower your auto insurance? Do you think an umbrella might be good for you? So again, it's building that relationship, getting to know the client, asking them questions, allowing them to talk about themselves so that I can better understand what it is that they need from me. And I think that's the same in most businesses. The more you can get the client to talk about themselves first, the better you're going to be able to serve them, not sell them products, but serve them with the needs that they need because you've had the opportunity to get to know them on a deeper level to understand what is their family like, what is their goals, what is their business or their job. So how can you help them and come from a servitude heart first? And it just equates to dollars. And that's not my expectation, but I'm curious. I ask questions. I want to help people. And so whatever business I'm in, I take the same approach to get to know them first before I even make any recommendations on how I think I can help them.
Were you also then seeing a trend with how you relate to women in the insurance industry too? Do they buy insurance differently?
Oh, absolutely. Women are more heart-centered. So the more you take the time to get to know your clients, the better it is for them. Men are more logical. They want to see the numbers. And yes, when it comes to real estate, agents, you get paid at closing, and then you may never work with that client for another 5, 7, 10 years, or maybe never. But the great thing about insurance is your insurance expires. So whether it's an auto policy, that could be 6 months. It's a home policy, it could be 1 year. So I'm having the opportunity to continue to build the relationship with the client on an insurance platform because we're going to keep talking. Every time that comes up for renewal, I want to know what's new in your world. Did you have a baby? Or your kids going to college? Maybe you got a new job. Lots of questions for me to ask to make sure that the insurance we have in place is the right one for you. And what's great about an insurance company being versus being a real estate agent is now I have a sellable asset. I have reoccurring revenue with a client database that I can sell. And what most people may not know about insurance companies is that they get multiples, right? So when you're selling a company, it could be, 1 times your 12-month earnings, 2 times your 12-month earnings. On the insurance piece, it's so much different. The multiple, like the multiplier, is higher than most every other company, number one. And number two, they're multiplying based on the gross revenue, not what you net. So I could have a company that's grossing, say, $1 million, but with all my overhead and rent and payroll and all the expenses, maybe I'm making $100,000. Well, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that $1 million that I'm bringing in. When you sell your insurance company, it's based on that gross revenue, not what you make at the end of the day, which just blew my mind when I first opened insurance because I've looked at other companies and you always look at how much are they putting in their pocket. Then we're going to multiply it to figure out what your business is worth, but not in the insurance world. And so building something that's reoccurring, that's a sellable asset, for me, it was just a no-brainer add-on to a real estate company because your leads are already there. You already have people buying and selling real estate. And now you have the opportunity to build something that's more long-term. So I think about insurance as like a retirement plan versus your real estate agent that gets money right now. So understanding the differences between the two is pretty tremendous. And when you have both of them, you're getting today's income and you're building something that you can sell tomorrow.
Right. So if you have an income stream that can be like a repeat profit, how do you measure the longevity of that?
It depends. I mean, I don't think insurance is going away anytime soon. I think even during a recession, people can't get rid of their insurance, right? They can cut back on pest control, or maybe they have a rental property and they have to reduce the rent. For insurance, you have to have insurance, and the rates are not determined by us. We can't cut rates. They're regulated by the states, and the insurance company says what their rates are going to be. So, and there's not many fields that I can think of that you're not going to be able to cut out should we go through a recession. Look for recession-proof businesses, right? You're going to put all your time and energy in a business and you're going to invest in that business. I'm going to look for something that even if the market turns, whether it's up or down, I'm still going to have an opportunity for clients.
Right. So that probably is a huge driver for teaching anybody how to build a portfolio or build assets that give you that longevity that I was just wondering about, and protecting your investments. And that's kind of the next thing I'm curious to ask you about is, it seems that your businesses are aimed at, number one, attaining the asset. However, what do we do to protect it?
So I wrote a book called Empower Your Money last year. It's available on Amazon. The first thing that you look at, and when you're thinking about longevity of your business, is this. You have to invest in yourself first. You have to be a student, and you have to always be a student. You can't stop being a student when it comes to anything that you're doing in life. So for me, being a constant student, watching trends and seeing where are people not at. And even if it could be like a flashy trend, I'm going to still take advantage of that in that moment. So for example, podcasting, there are 3.5 million podcasts across the world. There are 1.5 million people listening to podcasts. So I don't know anywhere else that you can advertise where you have the ability to reach 1.5 million people with one advertisement. I think podcasting has continued to grow. I think more people are getting away from TV and from news, and they want to consume very specific information. So podcasting is a way for them to go. And to start a podcast, it's easy. You need Zoom. You can use your laptop. It's all free right now. I can put this on Spotify, YouTube, Apple for free. So I can reach more people for free. And all I have to do is take the time out of my day to produce a podcast. Now, granted, it's good to have some equipment. Audio equipment's very important when you're doing podcasting, but I see more people doing podcasting and listening to podcasting as the future. And I don't know how long that future will be. I'm experiencing, tremendous growth in my own podcast, but I'm also using AI technology because I know that that's going to help make things easier for me as a podcast host. So watching the trends, investing in yourself, very important, and just try some new things, but track it. Give it 6 months. Don't spend a ton of money. I don't think advertising on TV is a great idea. I don't believe advertising on billboards unless you've got something catchy and you can create enough profit from your products is a good idea. But podcasting for me is definitely where I'm at right now.
Podcasting is one of the best ways to reach an audience. Back to my concern about going into a saturated field, right? Like I asked you about being a real estate agent. That's what a lot of people might say about podcasting. It's so saturated. So it's refreshing and helpful. I think the other day when I found an episode of yours where you were quoting these statistics about being able to reach people through podcasting, I hit back up 15 seconds a couple times, hit back 15 seconds, back up a couple times, because I need to hear you say that. Somebody who knows the stats, somebody who knows and it has the experience in what those numbers actually mean for you. You just said, I can broadcast for free and reach 1.5 million people. How do I know my podcast is actually going to reach enough people? That's a lot.
Yeah, you have no idea, right? That's the thing about podcasting is you don't know what the person is doing on the other side. So a lot of times I invite people to follow me. I'll split test. I'll do some different things like follow me at Empower Her Money on Instagram and message me podcast. And then I'm giving something of value or something away of free so that I can see that the person on the other side listened to that whole podcast and got to the end where I'm giving the freebie away. And if I don't get a response from that, then I'm going to try something else. But, knowing that I'm adding value, knowing that I'm getting guests on and sharing their story, their business tips, their money tips, and getting a chance to promote them as well, I just take it from that approach. Like if I know that people want to learn about money, and I know that because money is one of the most Googled words, right? It's you, your, guarantees, sex, and money. Those are the top 5 Google words. So if you're teaching something along that lines, make sure you put it on YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google. And when you put those keywords in and people are searching for it, your YouTube channel is going to come up. So it's just kind of being a student. If you're going to be a podcaster, you need to learn the different ways to podcast, how to distribute, how to use keywords and hashtags. And all of these videos are on YouTube for free. So when people say, I don't know how to do that, I just say, I'm a student of YouTube. It's free. And I teach people about money and how to go get stuff for free. So go on YouTube, search for whatever it is that you're wanting to learn, whatever your business is, whatever you think your clients might be doing and reaching them, and just go find a video and spend 30 minutes, maybe once or twice a week, and educate yourself. If you're not educating yourself on your own business, I'm not sure how you're going to decide that you're going to stay around for very long if you're not growing, because our industries are just constantly changing. And so, especially with the advance of AI, it's insane what you can do with AI. But learning all of that information and then taking action and implementing it into your own business is key.
Well, now if I want to follow your plan of action for how to build my podcast, right now you are offering a special deal, aren't you?
Yes, I actually I took my checklist, I simplified it a little bit because I have a lot of notes when I work with clients directly in launching their podcast, but I have a free checklist. It's just called the Ultimate Podcast Launch Checklist. I give it away for free. So if your audience wants that checklist, they just go to my Instagram, Empower Her Money, and just message me podcast. I will send it to you. It's a list and it tells you step by step what to do, how to set up things, what to do when you launch, how to market, how to promote your podcast, all kinds of different things that I included in there for free. Because what I find is a lot of people like to start and do things, but then it gets you to a certain point in your business and you need help. And so that's where I can come in to help coach you to make sure that the podcast is launched correctly. But if you want to do it completely on your own, then just send me a message on Instagram and I'll give you that checklist for free.
Well, the Empower Her Money, the book that you wrote, that's a lot of people are probably listening thinking that that's something they've thought about, writing a book. Is that something that everybody should try? I feel like everybody's trying to teach how to write books too. What do you know about that?
Yeah, and I think a lot more coaches are coming out and doing more of that because ChatGPT is there. Now, I know that kind of seems counterintuitive, but what Amazon is really good at is figuring out if you wrote a book yourself or if you use ChatGPT. And if they feel like ChatGPT wrote your book, they're going to kick you off the platform, and you definitely don't want that. I wanted to write a book to empower women and teach them about money. It's 101 simple tips. So like you can read this book in a half an hour, take away maybe 5 points that you can implement into your life right away. So if you have a desire to write a book, I hired a coach. My coach, James Malinchak, has written almost 30 books. He teaches from stages. He's a coach himself, but I didn't know how to write a book. I didn't know what to do with the book. I didn't know how to put it on Amazon, any of that. So I hired a coach to do that. Just like if someone wants to launch a podcast, they can hire me as a coach to do that. If you haven't done something before, YouTube can take you pretty far. But sometimes you just need a coach. Like I wanted to be a bestseller. I didn't want to just put a book out there. And so I hired a coach. He taught me what to do with the book, how to format it, what to say. We have things in there called boomerangs, which is how you get clients to come back to you after they read the book. And then he taught me how to put it on Amazon and how to become a bestseller. I was a bestseller in 4 categories when I launched my book. And so now I can say I'm a best-selling author, and it just adds to credibility. But again, I took the time to be a student, I learned it, and I took action.
You said that you were a bestseller in 4 categories.
4 categories, yes. I
What
beat
were
out.
those categories?
I don't recall all of them, but one of them was finance, and that was my mentor, Dave Ramsey. I used to teach his classes, Financial Peace University, and the fact that I beat him for a day, I was just excited.
You beat him for a day. Well, you spend a lot of time with him or in his program to be a certified coach. That was probably fun.
It was a lot of fun. When I owned my real estate company, what I found is real estate agents weren't great at managing commission income, which is not consistent. And so I really taught them how to budget, how to look at their expenses, how to tuck away money, how to put money towards retirement. And his program is very simple to follow. And for a good majority of people, it's good enough. I'm into more alternative investments now, and that's a little bit more of what I teach. But for the average American, maybe who has a 9 to 5 job and just doesn't want debt and wants to retire someday, his plan is pretty simple to follow.
Well, I found you, I can't remember where now because you're all over. So I know I can find you on Facebook. I know I can go to your website. I know you're on Instagram, and I can buy your book on Amazon. Um, and tell me again, if I want to get into your podcast coaching program, I can just contact you on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. Empower Her Money is my Instagram handle. Just message me podcast. Again, I'll send you the checklist for free. But if you really want someone to hold your hand and make sure you get done step by step everything, then my podcast launch program would be for you.
Awesome. What am I forgetting?
Yeah, that's it. Just make sure you like this podcast and share it with other people. So, Elizabeth, we can share your message as well.
Angela, thank you so much for being on our show today. And I hope you have a great afternoon. Please come back soon. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Work Studio in Floyd, Virginia. This has been an episode of Dear Business Coach.